Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to NerdPod Generations episode 149. As always, I am one of your completely moronic hosts, Steve Taylor, along with the lovely and patient Al Jutsum. Hello, sir.
Hello, friends and enemies. We're doing a remote, and this is the third try.
Okay, but this one, it was all my fault. I
wasn't going to bring that up. I was going to leave that on the cutting room floor, but if you want to talk about it.
I have to bring it up. Al just had this great thing talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. We were about ready to get into the Olympics, and I realized that I hadn't started recording on my end. And for this to work, we both have to record audio feeds. So we're doing it again, folks. NerdPod Generations 149, meaning 150 is next week. It's going to be a big week. If it's just your first time listening to us, please go to nerdpodgen.com. You can look up links to Spotify. Make sure to go look for us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and whatnot. Look at our last show, which was our Deadpool and Wolverine review. So please go back, listen to our back catalog, but also listen to this lovely show. Al, do you want to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game?
Yes, I finished Guardians of the Galaxy, and at this point we will cut in my audio.
So what happened, Al?
It was a good game. Happened? I'm not gonna re-review it. I'm literally just gonna cut in my audio, and everybody can just pretend that Steve is saying and then Steve says that he thinks skins are stupid, and I say no, skins are the only thing that make games good. And then Steve says, but what if you buy skins? Because I had friends that bought skins for PUBG. And I said, that's stupid bullshit, and you should only unlock skins. And that was the segment.
I didn't only say I said yeah a few times, and I said that's cool. So I did say other things. If you're going to put words in my mouth, you might as well pull every goddamn word in my mouth.
That was somehow better. That happened. Caught in my audio starting now. I finished Guardians of the Galaxy. So that is done. It was very fun. I like the ending a lot. It had 2 spoof endings where the credits would start to roll and then the characters would start talking and all of a sudden you're in another fight scene. And then the credits start to roll and the characters start talking and you have to make character decisions for Star-Lord for the last time. But it was fun. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was a good romp, all things considered. I like the additions that they made to the canon. And I like just how they got to where they got to. I thought it was a really fun game, and I would highly recommend. Plus, it has a New Game Plus. I will say, the New Game Plus, you unlock a ton of costumes for Star-Lord just by doing the New Game Plus. And I really would have liked to have had some of those costumes during the first playthrough of the game. There really isn't any need for me to not have those costumes or to have them only unlock at the end of the game. Oh, costumes are all for me. That's part of the fun. I need to have multiple skins. Everything has to be a reference to something. The great thing about this game is that they actually give credit to the artists that designed the costumes. So for all the costumes from the comic books, it tells you the artist and the first time that it was used in the comics. Costumes are essential to me. One of the things that I always look for in any superhero thing is a plethora of costumes. There better be costumes from every era. Everything better be in some way referenced and homaged, because that's part of the history. You got to do it. I'm talking solely about unlocks. There's no money spent unless it's like I bought costumes for Spider-Man because they were $5, and it's like, okay, whatever. It better be something that you unlock by playing the game. I don't want to spend money to get costumes.
All right, so now I'm happy we didn't start this until now, but we are going to be talking about the Olympics, and because of that fact, we are going to be bringing in Kelly, who is obviously the brains of this operation, because Al and I cannot get ourselves out of a room. If it had no doors, no walls, we would still find our way. It's like the Peter Griffith when he locked himself in his car. That's the kind of thing that we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's where we're at right now. Can you tell it's been a long week?
The Olympics.
Holy shit.
Hello,
the Olympics are going
enemies.
on. And here's Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
All right, we're going to reset. Director me is stepping in and saying, okay, everybody take a second. We're going to reset. All right, Kelly's here.
Yes.
Hi. How's it going? How's it going, guys?
How's it going, dude?
Oh, it's going.
Yeah, so I rather insistently was like, hey, let's get Peacock for the month that the Olympics are happening. And we've been having it on pretty much nonstop.
Yeah,
which has been great for the days that I have been working from home this summer, which has been quite nice.
No, it's been great.
I do appreciate that the replays on Peacock are commercial free.
They're mostly commercial free.
Mostly, yes.
I'm gonna throw a quick pause on commercial free. Commercial free might be a little generous for some people to call it.
Let's say commercial light.
Commercial neutral.
Neutral.
I think
that works
the
too.
way that it seems to work, and I might be talking out my ass, but my experience has been that it's commercial free for everything except for broadcast sports. And then because the contracts with broadcast sports, they have to have a certain number of commercials airing regardless. So there are still commercials even if you're commercial free. But what I do appreciate is that for a lot of the programming that's not live, they'll either take the commercials out, which is what they did for the opening ceremony. So if you watch the opening ceremony, it just has no commercials in it anymore. It just cuts right to. But they also have these drone shots of Paris. And that's kind of like your loading screen whenever there would be commercials if they can't edit them out or they have to have a break or something. So I do like that. That's been nice.
It's been so nice.
And it's mostly local commercials. There's only been a handful of national commercials.
Yeah.
So, but Geico, you've been on my TV more than I would like.
So much Geico.
So much Geico. But the opening ceremonies were beautiful.
They were amazing. We've watched them twice. I have cried both times.
Yes.
It's really lovely.
It's been incredible. They did some interesting things with the process of the ceremony.
Yeah. Having it on the River Seine was just so cool. And it does make you wonder how LA is going to try and top that in 4 years. That'll be a fun adventure.
I still think that they just do it on like the LA highways since everybody's going to be stuck in traffic anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just everybody's just lined up and it's just a
Or
parade.
something with the beach. Ooh, maybe
Yeah.
they'll have the cauldron on the beach.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Could be fun.
Well, I'm wondering if they're going to ever recreate what they did in Paris, because the biggest complaint that I heard from the people that were there is that a lot of people went there to watch the opening ceremonies and you don't really see very much if you're at the event.
Well, yeah. I think that's the case for a lot of events like
Yeah.
this where
Yeah.
it's like being at the event for a parade.
Yeah, I was
know?
going to say, if you're, at the Thanksgiving Day parade, let's say you're hanging out, up by the park, you're not going to see the Broadway performances in person that they're going to have downtown.
Yeah. It's definitely, this was more for the television audiences, which I think
it was 1,000% for television. Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And as much as I appreciate people that went there to see the opening ceremonies, I don't know what you expected.
And it wasn't as cringy as some opening ceremonies.
no,
have
it was
been.
really nice.
It was really, really nice.
There were a few moments where I kind of looked at it half-eyed, being like, "Oh, that's an interesting choice. That's odd." The whole thing with Assassin's Creed took me until you described what I was looking at.
I'm pretty sure that's what the reference was.
It makes the most sense why there would be this Assassin's Creed guy running around the city.
Yeah.
It's the only explanation that I can really accept.
So for folks who are maybe confused, one of the Assassin's Creed games takes place in Paris, and they took some really high-res scans of Notre Dame when they were making the game. So when the fire happened a handful of years ago, they were like, hey, we have all this data on the construction of the building. Here it is for your reconstruction efforts, and it has been
Isn't Ubisoft
greatly
French?
appreciated.
Yeah.
Ubisoft is also a French company. I will say the Minions portion of the show went on a little longer than I thought it would.
Yeah,
Even though,
Yeah.
again, Illumination
it was
is a
a
French
big time
animation.
film. They probably just went to a bunch of people and they were like, "Here, you have 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Go."
But there was some interesting stuff.
See, I can honestly say the only thing I didn't like about the opening ceremonies, and it's because the thing I enjoy the most is seeing the parade of athletes and seeing them on the boats. I kind of didn't like
Oh,
that.
I loved it.
Like the artistic part I liked, but just on the boat, it didn't have that same. I don't know. There's something about it and I think it was mainly
Je ne
because
sais
they.
quoi.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, of all the things I'm used to with typical opening ceremonies, the majority of it I could do without. That's the one thing that I realized, and it was after watching this, that's when I realized it. I'm like, I kind of missed seeing them walk out. But I mean, that's a small gripe for.
I liked it because usually when you have them walk out, there's just a lot of look up, look down, look up, look down. You're not really paying attention. You're just like, who's out now? Okay. And who's out now? Okay. And who's out now? Even Mike Tirico on the broadcast was talking about how they would usually do trivia during the Parade of Nations and just come up with different things that each nation is known for. And they didn't do that because they didn't really have time.
Yeah.
The way that everything was spaced out, it wouldn't really work to have this like, here's a little bit about Angola, and here's a little bit about Macedonia. And so I did like it for that. And it was a nice change of pace.
So here's an interesting question. What was your guys' favorite part of it? Because I'll tell you what mine is in a second. What was your favorite part of the opening?
The horse on the river.
Yeah.
The horse on the river was so cool.
The horse on the river, no doubt, was the best part of the entire thing. By far.
I mean, I'm going to have to say Celine Dion just because the whole backstory is really incredible.
See, I love the heavy metal part with Mary Antoinette.
That
was so freaking
That was amazing,
awesome.
Steve.
We watched it with my parents a few nights ago, and that came on, and Marie Antoinette was just standing there with holding her head in her hands, and my dad was just like, is that Marie Antoinette? I was like, yeah. And I pulled out, and he was like, oh,
dude,
wow.
that was
it's just we're just
that
going.
was such a visual and audio stimulating part. I was like blown away. I was like, holy crap. And the heavy metal was awesome. Like, it was really good.
I was wondering how did they do tech for it?
I don't know.
Right?
The week before, how do you do tech
I don't
for
know,
that?
because I do have to admit the lip syncing wasn't the best in a lot of the parts. And I had to be because of the rain,
lip
though.
syncing there was. I know Lady Gaga was really singing. She was.
But what I'm thinking is some of it's the rain. Because the rain, I felt bad that those poor people, they did so much work and then it just downpoured as they're doing.
The pianos, the poor pianos.
Oh my God, that piano
Three
guy.
pianos sacrificed their lives.
Yeah.
So we could have this beauty. No, for anybody who doesn't know, the two parts that me and Kelly are talking about are at the very end, the torchbearer carries the torch along the Seine by riding a horse. It's a mechanical horse that's a boat.
But it's like lit up really cool.
It's lit up really cool, and it moves, and it runs down the river, and it was just an incredible sight that I have never seen in an event like this.
It was so
cool.
well done.
And then Celine Dion.
Celine Dion finished it out with Le Hymne de l'Amour.
I'm going to let you explain it because you know more about it than I.
So for those of you who don't know, Celine Dion's been dealing with a really progressive neurological issue known as stiff person syndrome. And they're releasing a documentary about what she's been going through and everything. But to see what she was going through like this time 2 years ago when like it was at its height and now she's performing at the Olympics again. There's a lot of that in this. Just really incredible stuff. And those sort of touches really make it special.
No, it was an incredible performance on top of everything else that happened. And then they have, at the very end, they had the hot air balloon with the cauldron. It was just a really cool ceremony. The whole thing was incredible.
Really fun. But yeah, we've watched all types of events. I have Air Pistol on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We got to talk about the guy from Turkey?
Yeah. Oh my God.
The cold-blooded killer.
I just love the glasses these guys have.
That dude is I'd be terrified to come face to face with that man on the street.
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
The memes are already happening and it's great. But it's very fun, and I've been keeping an eye on the medal count. While the U.S. has the most medals, we are tied with China right now for most gold.
Oh, nice.
But there's still another 10 days or so left. So
thanks to Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles, who have pretty much carried us in golds.
I was about to say, we've watched both of them perform extremely well in these Olympics. The gymnastics, as always, is just so incredible to watch.
Yeah.
I did want to give a special shout out to Lori Hernandez, who is maybe the best color commentator of her age.
I wish she would do more events.
Yeah.
Not necessarily gymnastics.
She's
just that fun.
The approach that she brings and the metaphors that she uses when describing what's going on are just so of an era. And it's so fun to hear like a late millennial, early Gen Z.
Yeah.
Using these silly references that like everybody gets, but you would never hear during a sporting event.
Yeah.
And so that's been great. But no, having the Olympics is always an incredible thing to have going on in the background even. Every time you see new sports that you hadn't thought about, handball handball's been really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Just as a concept, I'm like, oh, this is a version of soccer that I could have gotten behind if America had any interest in this as a sport.
And like my daughter was watching trampoline gymnastics the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife pointed out, and so true, everyone was so miserable. Every one of the athletes looked just miserable the whole time. And it's like, Jesus, none of them are smiling. The gold medalist smiled, and all the rest, like, half of them cried. It's like, what the hell's going on with trampoline?
Well, like, what I found interesting about trampoline is that there was such a high level of just did not complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's so sad
to have that level of DNC.
Yeah.
And they get multiple tries.
Yeah. It's just nobody can stay on the mat. Everybody
so
falls
crazy.
off. Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It was fun watching my son watch synchronized diving for the first time. We watched the men's.
Ooh.
And the difference between the Chinese divers and everybody else was so blatant that he's watching it like, oh my God, they're so much better than her. I'm like, yeah, they're really, really, like, they made no splash going in the water, like, whatsoever. And it was just incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I found really interesting about the gymnastics was the perennials weren't as perennially good as usual. First off, Russia got fully booted from the entire competition for being assholes. Then the Chinese had a bunch of mistakes in their routine. So all of a sudden, doors were wide open for anybody else. And that made it so much more interesting. I almost think that they should boot a major country every, 12 years.
Just to make it interesting.
Like, you just don't get to come to this one. Let other people have fun, okay?
Yeah, because this raised the back and forth between Simone and the Brazilian, right? She was the one that won silver.
The Brazilian.
And that became, like, the whole gymnastic kind of drama.
Well, we got to see more of the Italian team.
Yeah.
That's a team that you don't really see in gymnastics a whole lot. So it was just really, really fun to watch this season.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed the Olympics.
It's awesome. And then we have, let's see, the artistic swimming and rhythmic gymnastics and sports climbing all start this week.
Oh, I'm so excited for sports climbing.
Breakdancing is going to be kind of toward the end, but very much looking forward to that too.
I really can't wait
That's
to watch
gonna be
breakdancing.
awesome.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
There was a moment on Peacock you can do multi-view where they have multiple events playing on the TV at once. It's the NFL Red Zone.
It's great for
nice.
ADHD.
Have they started speed climbing yet?
No, that
Tomorrow.
starts tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Okay. I can't wait to watch that.
I fucking love speed climbing.
That's freaking awesome.
Speed climbing's insane. At one point we were watching a bunch of different events, and it looked like they had a bunch of breakdancers out. And for a second, I was like, "Oh, is there like a team breakdancing competition as part of the breakdancing thing?" And it's just earlier than regular breakdancing. No, it was a halftime show.
The halftime show is also an Olympic event.
It was a halftime show at the basketball game between Greece and I think Czech.
Oh, Jesus. That's crazy.
Good times.
So now, please tell me you guys saw I just happened to flip on the TV to see the women win the bronze in rugby. That final play of the rugby match. Have you watched that?
We've
I don't know
watched
if I
clips
saw-
of it.
I don't know if I saw the final play of the rugby
I do want to
match.
watch the whole game at some point.
Yeah.
It was literally, they needed a miracle, like, full field play to win the bronze. And this one woman, I can't remember her name.
Lana Mayer?
She broke out of like 2 tackles and
Yeah.
just went the whole length of the field and won. And the Australians were like, what happened?
No, she's becoming a sensation online.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Oh, she was, I mean, it was like watching Derrick Henry. Like, they were bouncing
Yeah.
off her, and she was just like, "Bonk," gone. It was unbelievable.
I love seeing all these sports that we don't get to see because they don't have a high interest in America.
Yeah, no, because we suck.
Then you have moments like when we were playing, who was it? It was some North African nation. But we got absolutely trounced in soccer.
Yeah.
Like, just trounced in soccer. It was just embarrassingly bad. And I was like, and this is why no one cares.
There it is.
Because Josh Allen and Derrick Henry play football. They don't play football.
Yes.
If they played football, maybe we would care. But they don't.
No.
So here we are. I do think Josh Allen would be a better football player than a football player.
You better hope not for the amount of money you're paying them.
It's too late for that now.
But we will have an NFL preview in a few weeks, folks.
Yes.
So
That's coming.
hold on for that.
But did you have anything else?
That was it.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. We've really enjoyed it.
Can't wait for more.
Can't wait for more. I'm so excited for climbing. If you haven't watched climbing, watch climbing.
Watch the sports climbing. Oh my
Watch-
gosh.
It doesn't matter whether you watch bouldering, whether you watch the tether, whether you watch lead.
And speed.
And speed. Speed is so cool. Speed is the craziest sport I've seen this decade.
I can't wait to see the subscription numbers of Peacock go down when the Olympics are done. Everyone's going to cancel it.
We were joking that we haven't watched all of our dropout regulars this week because we've been too busy watching the Olympics. And so, like, you're watching Samurai, you should be like, oh, yep, there go the Olympic numbers. And they'll come back. They'll come back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they'll be back. Don't worry about it. Well, thank you, Kelly.
Anywho,
right.
thank you for joining us, Kelly.
Enjoy the rest of your show.